This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Roll. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, repairs are expected to commence soon at schools that were damaged by Hurricane Matthew. The Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, making the announcement late yesterday. The minister's intervention coming after teachers refused to teach, protesting the current working conditions. Italia Hall reports.
Teachers at the 8 Mile Rock High School and the Martintown Primary School sat out of the classrooms on Monday, protesting the delay in repairs at both institutions. It was a move sanctioned by the Bahamas Union of Teachers. The Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, says, while he understands the concern, there is a process before work could begin. He says Diamond Consultants, a technical team, traveled to Grand Bahama following the storm to assess the level of damage at those schools.
We received those reports early last week, and 2 contracts were awarded, one for Martintown Primary and one for 8 Mile Rock High School. Today, I learned that the contractors should be on the job site to start the necessary assessment and should be mobilized by no later than Wednesday of this week. We do apologize for the delay, but it's very important to understand that the technical component for assessing must be done by qualified individuals.
Minister Darville says he has been in discussions with the Minister of Education, the Honorable Jerome Fitzgerald, about this situation.
We both have spoken with the district superintendent to get to the bottom exactly what happened today, and we learned that yes, the union was involved, but it is my understanding that since then, and the union understanding that these scopes of works have been completed and the contracts have been awarded, they have agreed to go back to school. But I want to assure the residents, the students, and the teachers that we're going to move swiftly to ensure that we get men at the site completing the necessary works as a result of the devastation of Hurricane Matthew. I want to thank them on behalf of the government because we realize that there has been tremendous compromise to keep the school going in this particular condition.
He says the cleanup process is completed at all of the schools and the amount of time required for the repairs will vary.
I anticipate that in about a week or 2, most of those will be up and going. But we had major devastation to Battle Hill Primary, Lewis Yard Primary, Sir Jack Haywood Senior, St. George's. I believe they will take a longer time. But I'm hopeful that we should be able to get the bulk of the work in most of these schools to a point whereby we can get back to some degree of normalcy. And I anticipate no longer than a month's worth of work.
The minister says that most of the contractors will be in the various schools by tomorrow, adding that the government of the Bahamas is committed to ensuring that the work is completed in a timely manner. Reporting for ZNS Network News, I'm Italia Hall.
Thank you, Tally. Well, the president and CEO of the Grand Bahama Power Company giving a final update on the company's restoration efforts after Hurricane Matthew. Tonight, the president and CEO says after weeks of non-stop work, Grand Bahama is fully restored. It's been a rough 4 weeks for the Grand Bahama Power Company, as work crews have worked tirelessly to restore power after Hurricane Matthew ripped through the island of Grand Bahama. President and CEO Sarah McDonald says that they are pleased with the level of work that has been carried out during the restoration efforts.
It was still a long time, and we know that, but I think people could see the damage and could see the number of down poles and the effort, and especially areas like West End. You know, the last few days we would have had, 25 trucks and crews working there.
West End, one of the hardest hit communities on the island, was energized on November 11th. However, 90% of the island was restored by last week.
The repair and rebuild of our system was daunting. We set over 2,000 poles, ran hundreds of thousands of feet of wire. We replaced over 1,300 transformers and 6,000 insulators and installed the countless attachments, the nuts and bolts you need to keep those items up in the air.
The president and CEO admits that this was no easy feat. The power company reached out to its sister companies, and approximately 275 persons rushed to the island to assist Grand Bahama and ensure that the island received power in a minimal time.
We booked 4,657 hotel nights so crews could rest between their long shifts. To ensure line workers had protective clothing to wear every day on the job, we did 1,649 loads of laundry. We also employed up to 130 local men and women as flaggers and contractors every day. We had to field 14,285 calls. All in all, we have injected well over $2 million back into the local economy.
GBPC has received high praises for their ability to deliver speedy service after the passing of Hurricane Matthew. And McDonald says as they continue to work for the public, her hope is that this relationship is maintained.
Customers will not be billed for any days they were without power. You may receive a bill that says 60 days of billing, but that doesn't mean you're getting charged for electricity you didn't use. We did discover a discrepancy with some customers getting placed in a higher tier because they used more over the longer billing cycle. This impacted about 3,700 customers. 1,700 of those customers saw that a bill that was about $10 more than it should have been, and the remainder saw a maximum $53 increase. These customers will be credited for this amount, and we do apologize for the inconvenience. There will be no interest charged on delinquent or past due accounts in October or November, and there will be no disconnections in November.
Consumers are advised that if there are any inquiries on bills, they should contact the Customer Service Center or visit the local office. Well, as Bahamians continue to rebuild in the wake of Hurricane Matthew, a disaster relief coordinator from the United States is making recommendations on how residents can have sustainable livelihoods. Sabrina Brown reports.
It's been over a month since Hurricane Matthew swept through the Bahamas, leaving behind a trail of destruction. As restoration efforts continue, an official with the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship says, moving forward, the focus must shift to transformational development.
And that is to help identify who within society are at this lowest level of socioeconomic status, and then to help them see the potential that they have within themselves to break maybe this mindset prison that they may be in, to say that there's no hope for me, what can I do?
International Disaster Response Coordinator with CBF, David Harding, says there are things that Bahamians can do to build up their communities and create resilience.
They can pool their resources together, help them see that there is a cash flow, and how can these small groups, we call them sustainable living teams, then be formed with their own bylaws, with this concept of learning the transformational aspect of saving their own money.
Harding explains some key aspects of this new concept.
Even though they're very, very poor, the most vulnerable in the society, they can actually start saving and then having little business plans of making an income for their family by taking a loan from them, their own money, pay it back with interest. And this starts a revolution, really, within their own lives about what is possible.
He says this model, which identifies and addresses extreme poverty and lack of opportunities among the most vulnerable, has already been introduced in other countries around the world.
And we've seen this in India and in Ethiopia. Most recently, we've introduced it in Haiti. But this is also just to see, does it fit here in the Bahamas? And so we're here to look and to meet with leaders and to see if this is a model that we would like to encourage and at least provide a vision for establishing here in the Bahamas.
Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
In other news, the 8 Mile Rock High School is one of the institutions that suffered significant loss during the recent storm. While the school await repairs, a company in the industrial sector have come on board to replace some much-needed supplies. Megan Shepard explains.
The 8 Mile Rock High School was one of the institutions that was struck hard by Hurricane Matthew, suffering damage and loss of supplies. The Grand Bahama Shipyard Social Club has stepped up to donate 6 much-needed computers and a printer to help with the school's computer lab. Members say it was a pleasure to help advance the learning process.
We really believe from the Grand Bahama Shipyard aspect that we want to give back as much as we could. And to our kids, that is. And we want to make sure they know exactly what's available to them.
8 Mile Rock High School has been near and dear to the Shipyard's heart as we've assisted with various projects in the past. So it is in keeping with this partnership that we gladly stand with you this morning.
We started only fitting as employees of the shipyard. We wanted to give back to the community. It isn't the shipyard per se, but it's the employees who have a heart for the community, and especially the community of 8 Mile Rock. I'm only fitting with Mr. Butler and his students, because a lot of people came from the government system and became successful people in society.
Principal Ivan Butler calls it a timely donation, and he is thankful for the continued support of that company.
The Grand Bahama Shipyard Company on whole has been very generous to us over the many years. And each year they give us a donation, and that's from corporate GB Shipyard. But today, this initiative by the employees, many of whom attended this school and reside in this area, they saw it fit at a back-to-school rally to continue to support the 8 Mile Rock High School. And so the president of the association, I want to especially thank her and her committee for the wonderful donations. You know, during the hurricane, we lost many computers, and so this donation today will go a long way in helping us to restore and get back to some sense of normalcy.
Head boy James Fine also thanking the company for their generosity.
I am very grateful to the Grand Bahama Shipyard Company for what they have done. I pray that God bless them for what they are doing, and I thank them a lot.
Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.